Hello, good morning, Pop Girlies Nation, or good whatever time of day you're listening to this. Good morning, Baltimore, even.
Even.
Good morning, EUSEXUA.
I love Good Morning, Baltimore.
I know it. I've heard that song
Oh yeah, because you haven't seen
because I
Hairspray.
haven't
Yeah, she hasn't seen it,
It's
Levi.
horrible. I
famously.
I sang that for my second grade talent show.
Love that.
Yeah, it was actually bad. There was a booze in the audience.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
Okay, yeah.
I would have been
Hot
on
tracks?
on that note, well, how's everyone doing? How are we doing this? Fine. We're recording this. We're being on the ground reporters. We are recording this on Saturday. So right after the album that we're talking about just came out, we are giving you breaking Pop Girlies news. So how are we doing,
Yes.
my fellow journalists?
Doing great.
Great. Well, we even did some live in the field investigative journalism last night
Yeah.
because we went out to Scarlet where they did all of EUSEXUA front to back. So I'm sure Drew and I will be able to have some points to speak on for experiencing the
Yes.
entire album in a club setting, not the highbrow EUSEXUA rave setting that I'm sure it's intended for, but nonetheless.
Yes.
Okay. Should we get in some hot tracks?
Let's do it.
Drew, why don't you start us off?
Okay. My hot track was a little difficult. Um, so Levi and I had the pleasure this week to go see Kelsey Ballerini in concert. And we've talked about her on the pod before. Levi liked her, I think, like in high school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I love that EP that she released in 2023.
Yes,
I love
yes.
that
The
EP.
breakup one,
Yes,
yes.
it's so good.
And I really got into her with this album, but specifically with her song Sorry Mom. It was like one of my top songs of the year. So I was really excited to go, and I had never seen her, hadn't been in a concert in a while.
It was my first
So
time going to
we,
United Center. It was my first.
yes, United,
Oh,
yep.
I hadn't been to an
And
arena show in forever.
oh my gosh.
and I
We're
will
ready.
say,
I'm sorry.
it's not the typical experience of United Center. It was not that busy.
But it was sold well. Like it looked
It was, yeah,
full.
it looked full. I guess maybe
There was
we
just
were
that one
in,
section that looked sparse.
yeah. There were, I mean, it took some time to get everyone in, but we like literally there was no traffic there. Like we pulled right up to the door. Like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
like kind of unusual,
Yeah.
but no, it was a really fun time. But so we're, anticipating we have the set list. She'd only done one show before Chicago. I think Chicago was the second on the tour. And we're kind of anticipating the songs that we like really enjoy, whatever. Um, and yeah, she did a really great job. And then we were like gonna leave just a little early to avoid the traffic, but we wanted to make sure we heard Sorry Mom. And she does her quick change. She gets the guitar, she goes up to the mic stand and she goes, yeah, so this is normally where I perform Sorry Mom. But tonight I read the comments and I'm gonna make some changes because I have a special guest here tonight. And then she brought out Carly Pierce, I think, right?
Yeah, that's her name. Kia Pierce.
When I tell you the way that Levi and I cracked
It
when
was
that
so
happened.
funny.
The collapse.
Well, because I mean, that was what we were anticipating the entire night. And like I was just happy when the first concert happened and Drew sent me the set list that Sorry Mom was on the set list. And I remember Drew going, "Oh my God, of course it was going to be on the set list." And I feel like you cursed yourself then. Like you
Well,
jinxed
yeah,
it.
Ruined it.
well also like the reason that I found out about the tour was because she like whoever is on her team was really promoting it on the TikTok. Like
Yeah, Sorry Mom.
every
That was the
time.
sound. Yeah.
And that was like she was like in an arena seat, like, and the tour ad was playing and it was Sorry Mom and all the ads. I was like, oh well, it has to be on the set list. They're like really promoting the song.
It was good. The
And
concert was really
the
good.
concert was great. Yeah,
The
she did a
concert was
great
really
job. And
good.
I'm gonna give her some love on the hot track. My hot track is We Broke Up, which was I think the highlight of the
That
show
was,
for
yes.
sure.
That was,
Yeah.
I think that or Wait or the mashup
Mountain with a View.
of Mountain with a View and Inner Love.
Yeah.
Those three were my top three performers. We Broke Up was so much fun though.
Yeah. Amazing. She's amazing live. So if you have a chance,
She sounds just like a recording.
yeah.
Yeah,
So if you have a
it's fun.
chance, the tickets weren't expensive. So
No, they
I
weren't.
mean they weren't like crazy, but
We were sitting next to the rudest white women from
oh
Indiana.
my God.
They
Yeah.
were so horrible. Because, like, okay, I understand at a concert or like in any public space, this is one of my pet peeves. When you're in a public space, you have to be aware of other people. And, like,
Yes.
you can't act like you are the main character and everything is revolving around you. Like, you have to know that you're in a shared space. And, you know, if you are at a paid event, other people paid for it just like you did. And I'm all for that. And so I understand if we're in an aisle, like, people are going to have to act like you're going to have to, like, scooch and people are going to go to the bathroom or whatever. And I'm all for that. However, if you are the person who is constantly going back and forth, you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," like, "Excuse me."
Oh.
And these girls just would like start walking and like glare at us and not say anything.
I would just be like, move.
Yes. No, they wouldn't speak. They would just like,
But
they
yeah.
would,
Well,
Well,
yeah,
yes.
and it was a group of like 8 girls.
very
And
obnoxious.
so they were very obnoxious. They came in literally seconds before she performed. Like,
Oh,
they
well, and
came
it
in.
also made me mad because so we had our big coats because it's wintertime, and I was sitting on Drew and I both were like sitting on our coats,
Yeah.
make sure that they were in our space, and the
Yeah.
girl next to me, her coat was like entirely in my space the entire time, and I kept like shoving it into her space, and then it kept going into my side because
That's
she,
so
she
crazy.
well, she's just too good to sit on her coat because her coat is just too. I'm sure she got it, from Buckle or something, and it's too couture to
Yeah,
be
it's
sat on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and it's just like
It's an
it.
empowerment. Thank
and then this girl spent the entire time like on a wedding website. She was like looking at bridal dresses the entire time, which is like, good luck booking that wedding you speak of.
Yeah.
The way that
Well,
you're
and we were in the 300 level. Like we had like the cheapest seats. So like maybe if we were down lower, the people would have had a little bit more
more
respect.
respect.
But
Yeah.
you.
No
um
respect. No respect.
That's crazy.
no, but it was like a group of 8 girls, like all together,
There
like
was
for
one girl that
something.
would say "excuse me," but there were two girls. Well, and one girl saw Drew roll his eyes at her.
Oh my God. Well, it was the first girl who really disrespected. I mean, she like
She,
in the moving of the aisle, she
Yes.
really, I mean, she just walked right past us. It was during a song that I was really feeling.
Yeah,
and
and
she
and
walked right past us and didn't say anything.
well, yeah,
And
because
so I was like, okay.
regarding the Red Sea.
And so then she came back up and she was like, she made eye contact with me like I was gonna like move so that she could come back in. And I literally looked at her rolled my eyes. I was like, that look on your face, get that fucking look off your
Well,
face.
no, because it's just like just say, "Oh, excuse me," or like, "I'm sorry." Like that's what we're in a shared space.
Shared space.
That
Yes,
is not a
it's
big
horrible, and it's like, you know what? Go away. Like, just go get
I
out
don't
of the
think
city. I know
concerts
you
are
don't
for
live here.
you.
Leave
What?
Chicago.
I don't think concerts are for her.
No, I don't think concerts are for her either. I think wedding website
Go
scroll.
to your Morgan Wallen
Yeah, go
shows
to your
and
Morgan
get the fuck
Wallen.
out.
Get out of here with your bad foundation and just ugh.
Stay in the Eras Tour Ticketmaster queue because that's where you belong.
Well, but clearly not though, because we were clocking because Kelsey Ballerini she just fully does like the vigilante shit dance for like
Yeah, I mean,
With the chairs?
she's Tay
like, 'cause he does
Daughter.
it for like no reason, and then like Drew and I were like, "Oh my God, it's vigilante shit!" And that girl looked at me when I said that. I was like, "Oh, what? Do we not curse? Do we not curse in Northern Indiana?"
Did you say something Taylor Swift related?
Yeah, I was like, "Get away from me."
I mean, yeah, we obviously have Swifties on the pod. She is if you need to feel something in the Eras Tour, drought, she can give you some
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
Kelsey is like so Tay.
Tay Daughter.
And she would even do the thing where Taylor like kind of gets made fun of for, which I love, that when she's introducing a song and she like has this like big rambling monologue and then
Yes.
like said like Kelsey did that,
Oh.
which is
Well,
really
and it was also really funny because she was like, "We're not gonna do Sorry Ma." Wait, I usually do Sorry Mom. We're not gonna do that. And then the next song, she had one of those ranty ass monologues, and we were like, well, it could be Sorry Mom. I guess maybe she'll do it. Maybe she'll do it because we're all pissed. No.
wait, because that was the other thing that was weird. She's like, I've been reading the comments, and then she brings out the song, and literally you could have heard a grasshopper leap on the floor. It was so silent. Nobody was singing along. No one knew the song.
No, and like usually when, and in my experience, when there's been a guest at a show, it like there's earthquake when she comes
Yes.
out, like, and it was like not even applause.
No, like Carly like walked out like to like silence.
Oh,
And nobody was seated for it.
weird.
Yeah, so
That is
The
really
people wanted Sorry Mom, so I hope
yeah.
she
yeah.
makes the comments
Well,
again.
and then we left after.
Well, because there was
Spoiler
only like a few
alert.
more songs left, and like we were gonna leave like in like two songs anyways, and
That's so fair.
it was just like let's leave, and we were able to get an Uber
Uber
immediately.
sat.
It was awesome.
Oh,
It was great. Yeah.
yeah. The thing about the phones though that you brought up of like this woman who's like scrolling through like weddings and whatever. I've never been to a concert where they actually make you like lock up your phone, like you can't have your phone at all. I've never experienced that, but I'm honestly like I would be interested to have that
Do you know who
experience.
did that?
Ooh.
Madonna on the Madame X tour. When she did the theater tours and she like did like
Really?
residencies, she
Oh,
made people lock up their phones. Like when you entered, you had to give your phone to the people
oh
because
wow.
she wanted everybody to be like in the
Yeah, I
experience.
know Jack White does that too. Like he's a big proponent of like no phones, no phones. And I'm not like when I go to a concert, I don't do a lot of documenting. Like I'll maybe take a 15-second snippet and like a photo or two, or like take a photo of like me and the people that I'm with. But my concert experience is not about documenting it, which I know nowadays that's like the tea for a lot of
Yeah,
people
which
is
is
like I'm recording
weird.
it all.
Yeah, especially from the nosebleeds. Like,
Yeah, it's like, okay, girl, who cares? But it's just, it's very interesting to see, like, and I've seen that multiple times as well. If someone goes to a concert that they definitely paid money for, and then they're just on their phone doing random crap the whole time. It's like, what are you doing?
You can be on your Instagram comments anytime.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not it that's not being in a very eusexual state of mind.
Right? Disconnect to connect.
Yes, rude. Okay, anyways, that was a long
yeah,
we broke up
we broke
for
up.
Hot Track. That's a great song. That's a really, really great.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Well,
Maria.
which wait, that was Dua Lipa, Maria. You know, okay, not this isn't my hot track, but the other song with my name Maria, Justin Bieber's Maria.
Well, also
Well,
all
and
songs.
Well,
West Side
yeah,
Story.
And
no,
how do you solve a problem like Maria?
I'm not implying that these are the only two songs, but
What was what you said? You said the other song.
well, I think what I meant was like this, like two songs titled Maria that have come out in our lifetimes.
Got it. Well, I
Oh.
was alive during West Side Story. I'm actually 72.
Oh, right,
I look
right.
really good for my age.
Love you, Grandpa.
No new.
Okay, so my hot track is 100% inspired by the pinnacle of human experience, EUSEXUA, because after listening to all of EUSEXUA on Thursday when it came out, first thing I did the second it ended, hit play on Ray of Light. That's the first thing I did was smash Drown World, played the whole thing front to back. And I know that there's a song on EUSEXUA that has a direct correlation in sonic
Girl.
value to a song on Ray of Light, but that's actually not going to be my hot track. But after listening to the whole thing, it's the song that's been stuck in my head the most, and it's Skin from Ray of Light.
And that was in your top three.
Yeah,
It wasn't
was.
your
I
top
think it
three.
was three.
I think it was three. Yeah,
Yeah.
Skin is such a Maria Bates song.
It's so good. So yeah, that's just been stuck in my head like this whole
Ugh.
time. But yeah, it's so good.
The people yearn for Ray of Light. Everyone wants Ray of Lights.
They do. And now like my whole Twitter feed is like, wow, EUSEXUA is so Ray of Light. And like all of a sudden everyone's talking about Ray of Light.
Where the fuck were you guys in 2011 when I was blaring it on my iPod Touch? Where were you?
Yeah.
Do you know how scared I was being at Walmart, going to the CD section and picking Ray of Light and like coming up to my mom and be like, "Can I get this?
Can I get it?
This is the one that I want, please."
So absolutely living for Ray of Light. Well, I was gonna say some other stuff, but obviously we'll get into EUSEXUA, so
Yeah.
I have all of that. But that's gonna be my hot track.
Lovely.
Back in Madonna world, back in Ray of Light. So
Everyone-
everyone just stood up and clapped.
Everyone just stood up and clapped. There's actually, when this episode goes live, there's going to be earthquakes across the globe for the thunderous applause
Yeah.
that every member of humanity will be engaging with.
Exactly.
Well, excellent. Okay, I don't know. I'm in a weird stage right now because for the second week in a row, I'm going to be highlighting a man. And this one is directly from Maria. So part of my goal, I was really inspired by what Maria was talking about in the end of year episode of like keeping tracks of all the new albums she listens to. And my really good friend, one of my best friends, Irene, does the same thing. She is always listening to new music. And last year I put a lot of effort into like watching new movies and like investing a lot in first watches rather than rewatches because I found myself like in 2023 watching a lot of things that like I had already seen before. And it's like, okay, I need to be like expanding. And I love that I did that. And I'm still making a big effort to do that. But I kind of had this realization when you were talking about that, Maria. I was like, I feel like I should do that with music as well because I feel like I obviously love music so much and I feel like I have a wide knowledge of stuff, but there's just so much music out there that I haven't listened to that I'm sure that I would love and like I just think you kind of have to just put yourself out there and listen to it. And
Mhm.
I also am like, okay, I know the truth that women make better music than men, but I'm sure that there is music by men out there that like is for me in some way. And so I asked Maria, I was like, Maria, what music do you think like can you give me recommendations? And one of the recommendations that she gave me was the band The Blue Nile, and she said not even just for the Tay influence, which as everyone knows, everyone on the planet knows. Uh, the Blue Nile is referenced in the song Guilty as Sin from Tortured Poets Department and their song The Downtown Lights, because it starts with drowning in the Blue Nile. He sent me downtown lights. I hadn't heard it in a while. And so I listened to the album that The Downtown Lights is from. It's called Hats. It has such a good album cover.
So good.
The album cover is really, really cool.
So good.
And it's 7 songs. It's super clean. It's like very concise and it's amazing. It has some of the most beautiful production I've ever heard. It's like this very sophisticated take on like alt synth pop from the 80s, but there's all this like orchestral influence as well. Like the way
Yeah.
that the strings come in on these songs, and these songs have such a beautiful build to them that I really loved. And so the one that I'm gonna highlight, the Downtown Lights is incredible, but just because I was already kind of familiar with that song, I'm not gonna highlight that one. I think the one that I'm gonna use as my hot track is the closing track, Saturday Night. I love that song. That song is incredible.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal album closer. And there's actually, if you give me 1 second to pull up, I read the Pitchfork review of the record. They did like a retrospective review in 2018. They gave it an 8.8, which is very good score. And there's this, oh shit. Oh my God. I thought it was at the end, and I guess it's not at the end. There was this like sentence in it. It was like everyone knows the best way to like cure loneliness is to like wrap yourselves in it and like keep yourself warm.
Uh-huh.
And like it's very much an album that like the music is very sad but also comforting.
Yes, the whole album it's so somber. Like
Yes.
that's the word that really like sticks out to me, but it is very comforting. So yeah, it's so good. I'm literally so happy that you listened to
It's
it.
a gorgeous album. I think you'd like it, Drew. The production is like some of the best production I've ever heard. So definitely excited to get more into the Blue Nile as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's my hot track, Saturday Night, the Blue Nile.
So slay. I would say because I
Really.
also was like, because the two albums that I listened to were Hats and then A Walk Across Rooftops, which I would 100% also recommend listening to that. It's a little bit more like colorful. It's a little bit more, I wouldn't say it's like high energy or anything crazy. Like it's not too dissimilar from Hats, but it's like I think a little bit more upbeat in a way, but
Because Hats is very like melancholy and like,
very, very.
but like not like pathetic about it. You know what I mean? Like
Like it's not depressing.
it's not depressing. No, it's not depressing. It just is like it has a somber mood to it.
Mhm.
Even there's like just like straight up love songs on it, but even those are kind of
Yeah.
twinged with sadness. Yeah, it's great. It's a really great album. Okay.
So exciting.
That was a great hot track
Yeah.
offering. Hot trackery.
Yeah.
Offering.
The You're offering it up to the pop girly gods.
All right, so is Pop Girlies Nation ready to adopt a new ideology by way of
Yes.
the new album from yes, from FKA twigs?
Well, yes.
Okay, so as mentioned multiple times on the pod, it is finally the day where we get to talk about and have listened to EUSEXUA by FKA Twigs. And yeah, it came out literally technically yesterday, but time zones, we listened to it Thursday night. And yeah, Drew and I went out last night and got to like hear it live in like a club space. And so yeah, it's been with us for just a little bit over a day. And yeah, we're doing our immediate reactions. So yeah. If anyone has anything else to add though, I can get right into some background here.
Get into it.
Yes. Okay. So, getting into some background, this is FKA Twigs' third studio album since Magdalene, which I know is obviously a big Levi moment,
It is.
number one. And then her latest project is technically categorized as a mixtape. So this makes it her third studio album. And it's so interesting because I was just watching some interviews and stuff with her because I hadn't fully realized that because she was cast in the remake of The Crow is the reason why we have this album.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. I think I might have.
Yeah, because that movie was bomb, bomb, bomb.
It was bomb.
It
It was
was
bad, bad
floppy.
boots. It was a huge flop because my roommates and I love the original Crow with Brandon Lee. Like that movie is really great. And this one with Twigs and Bill Skarsgård is a remake. And it was so
Oh,
bad.
you saw it.
It was really bad. Because it went to theaters and we didn't see it in theaters, but I think we did pay to rent it because we were like, well, we need to see it. And it was bad.
I do think he looks really hot though with the tattoos.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's a cutie, but yeah, it was.
Never heard of this.
He has nothing though in Nosferatu though.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
So yeah, it's just wild because they filmed a lot of The Crow in Prague, and what has been said multiple times is that EUSEXUA is directly inspired by the underground techno rave scenes of Prague that Twigs got to experience while she was on set in Prague for filming The Crow. So that's just so crazy. That's just so wild to me that is the reason that this exists. So for having relocated to Prague and being inspired by that scene, she mentioned that she fell in love with techno and explained that the album would not consist of that genre solely, but would bear its quote spirit, and described the album as deep but not necessarily sad, which I think comes across for sure. You know, obviously I think a lot of the singles had a little bit more of like an upbeat kind of motif to them, but then some of the tracks that are just album tracks are a little bit more, like she said, a little bit more deep. So she had also explained in an interview with British Vogue in March of 2024 that the meaning behind the word EUSEXUA was a saying that she came up with to describe the quote sensation of being so euphoric that one could transcend the human form. So we're talking big philosophical ideologies here, which is just so interesting. And she had also explained in an interview on Jimmy Kimmel, where the guest host was none other than RuPaul, that she was obsessed with the alternative cultures and subcultures. So to being somewhere that she had never been, which was Prague, was just really amazing to experience the techno scene, warehouse raves, techno kids, and all of that she felt really, really drawn to. But that interview is so funny. You guys have to watch
The
it.
interview is really funny.
It is so
I had no idea
it's
about this.
so funny because
they're so not in tune with each
no,
other.
because first it's just RuPaul and Bill Skarsgård, and it's so awkward, but also very funny. And then halfway through, Twigs comes out, and then RuPaul's like, "Hey, so you have a new album coming out? Like, what's it called?" And then Twigs is like, "EUSEXUA," and then RuPaul goes, "You know, there's an ointment for that." And then RuPaul laughs at his own joke for 1 minute straight while everyone's dead silent.
And Twigs was not gagging.
She was not getting
She did not think it was funny.
It's so funny. The whole thing is so funny. Like, please watch it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm literally watching it as soon as
Yeah.
this is over.
You have to. It's so funny.
Brusexua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's most of the background though. But as far as the features go, Corliss is featured as a producer and a collaborator, namely on Drums of Death. And then none other than Northwest features on the song Childlike Things and raps in Japanese. So there's
So crazy.
It's so crazy. And it's also really great. We have the gift of already having the Pitchfork score, which they gave it Best New Album of the Week, and they already gave it a 9.1, which is huge. Do you know if that's her highest rated?
No,
No, I think Magdalene's
Magdalene
higher.
9.4.
Oh, 9.4. Wow.
Mm.
Wow, 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 wow.
I mean, both so deserved.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Come on.
I mean, if we're being like, oh, it just got a 9.1, like that's
Oh, that would be crazy.
we
That's
know.
not what I'm implying.
No, I know, but that's saying like this is the caliber of the person that we're talking about. Like
Right.
9.1 isn't even her highest score.
Yeah. I think her highest or her lowest score for a studio album is an 8.8 on Pitchfork. I think I had read that. I think Capper Songs might have an 8.6 or an 8.4
Let's just look
maybe.
it up.
Hosier's so mad at her right now.
Because you just punched a hole in the wall. Let's see. We're doing
Pulling it up.
live journalism right now.
Okay, so yeah, EUSEXUA 9.1.
Oh, 7.8. Ooh.
Yeah, so how do you is it Capri Songs or Capra Songs?
I think it's Capper Songs.
'Cause that's how I always pronounce it, but then I
Yeah.
heard somebody the other day say Capri Songs and my entire life flashed before my eyes.
Capri Songs? I don't
But it's
think
Capra
it's
Songs, like
that.
Capricorn.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I think.
Yeah, so Capricorn is 7.8. It didn't get best new music. Magdalene 9.4 best new music. The fuck is Labyrinth? Dune Conda. What is that? Oh, she
she's
was
just
collabed
mentioned,
on
yeah.
it. Okay.
It's a
And then
keyword
she had
search.
another mixtape, Melissa, that was 8.6 best new music. Her first studio album, LP1, 8.8 best new music. And then her second EP, EP2, was an 8.0. So her lowest is a 7.8.
Yeah.
And it was for a mixtape.
It
So
was
all
for a
three studio
mixtape.
albums
All
have-
three studio albums have been best new music, and the lowest of the studio albums was an 8.8.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. And as of Saturday, the 25th, on Metacritic, it has an 88. So,
88's a very good score. A lot of my favorite album of all time has an 88.
ooh,
Folklore, for those who don't know.
folklore. Oh, I thought Future Nostalgia.
That also has an 88,
I
though.
know, we talked about
We
it.
did talk about it.
Okay, so just going on to some other points too. So at the end of a lot of the music videos that she released for EUSEXUA, it would end with just like an end bumper that would say, quote, "EUSEXUA is a practice. EUSEXUA is a state of being. EUSEXUA is the pinnacle of human experience." So pause for 5 seconds so that
Should we sit with that?
let that sink in for 5 seconds, everybody. Pause the episode and sit for 5 seconds. So I would say though, speaking of interviews and all of the kind of promotional material beforehand, her interview with Jake Shane is obviously it's really funny because Jake Shane's hilarious, but it's really interesting hearing her talk about all of these kind of words that she created for a specific combination of feelings or something that you can do to enhance your mental state or just all of this sort of stuff because it's just very interesting. I've never really gotten so deep into an artist that is so like it is like a global sensation of like I am immersed in my own work so much
Mhm.
that it has become a philosophy. It's the way I
Yeah,
lead
who
my
is
life.
who is your biggest stan of all time?
Well,
No, it's different. No, it's different.
different girl.
It's different because there's also like with Gaga, it feels like she's like the performance is so integral to her work and like
Yeah.
she's like
Okay, I see that. I see that.
in
Yeah.
different personas. Like also just the way that like her mind works, Twigs's mind works is just I love her in interviews. She
Yeah.
has some of my favorite interviews of all time. There is the podcast Song Exploder, which is
Yes,
this
so good.
great. Have you listened to that?
Yeah.
It's one of she does an episode about my favorite song in Magdalene called Mirrored Heart, and just the way that she thinks about music and the way that she thinks about her craft and her approach to creating art is so fascinating. And yeah, I echo everything that Maria said about the Jake Shane interview. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, but I get what you're saying, Drew. Like, and I think that kind of mindset when it comes to like being an artist and creating, I feel like that just kind of gives me like art pop Gaga, where every single thing that she did during that era was like in pursuit of the truth of the work that she was doing. Not that that isn't consistent across her entire career, but it was just so present all of the time. Like every time she stepped onto the street was like an endeavor in performance art through fashion, or she would like walk to her car from like the studio like walking as slow as she could, like oh, like all of this very performance art stuff that like again, is like pieces of that are definitely present throughout Gaga's career, but I think during the art pop era is when it kind of feels like this EUSEXUA stuff, where it's like
Yeah.
every single thing that Twigs is doing is like, yes, practicing EUSEXUA or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
all very, very consistent, and the truth of the work is always present all of the time. Like it never ever wavers. So
It's kind of like it kind of gives me Chromatica too, not as much as like the sound of it, but like creating a world for like a
yeah,
specific, yeah. It was kind of good, like the concept of it, I guess.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Jake Shane interview as well, she talks about the storyline in the Eusexua video, like for the song Eusexua, which I thought was also very interesting because it starts off with her in an office, and then it has the piece of Drums of Death with the dance, which is awesome, and then it goes into the song Eusexua, where she's like kind of getting ripped out of this office world and then kind of transports to this other place, but then returns to the office clearly having been changed. Like she doesn't return in the same outfit with the same hair, like she looks different, but has still kind of like conformed to the office.
Us going into the
It-
office on Monday.
exactly, exactly. So she kind of described it as escaping your normal life to like ascend into whatever quote state of eusexua, whatever you're seeking after, but then returning somewhat changed or altered by the moment of clarity and presence that you had experienced. So I just thought that
Wow.
was cool because, in the video, she comes back to the office and she's got the skullet, like the shaved head, and then a nose ring, and then I think like no brows or bleached brows or something that she didn't have beforehand. So it's like carrying, all of these things that make you present, or like experiencing whatever kind of Eusexua, and then coming back to the office and being like, I'm still me, I'm still going about my life, I can't, like I still have to do the things I have to do, but bringing some sort of like heightened experience back to it that you can just keep present with you, that I thought
Yeah.
was cool. um yeah, because I feel like it's just really easy to be like, well, conform to society, whatever. I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing of
Hmm.
like, you don't have to, like, there's so many ways that you can express yourself or get your, like, really, like, bring your personality to the surface when it feels really easy to just not, you know? Like,
Hmm.
sometimes it feels kind of default, like, oh, I'm at work, so I, you know, whatever. I mean, I don't work in an office, so maybe I don't have as much of like a similar experience to that, but I just thought it was interesting of like really letting your inner self shine in a way. That's kind of what I was getting from it a bit. So that's just kind of, I just kind of went down a rabbit hole though, but she talks a lot about that in the Jake Shane interview. So definitely recommend if you're looking to get to the truth of Eusexua straight from
Yeah.
Twigs herself. So very cool though. I'll talk a little bit more about my takes on all of that when I'm kind of talking about the album, but that's what I wanted to go into for some background rather, because I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
some of those pieces from interviews. So
If you're interested too, like his interview is really nice to listen to because it's not as serious as a lot of this jargon is sounding. Like they're very like they're bounce off each other in a very
It's very
funny way.
funny.
it's very funny.
Yeah, yeah. So
So yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic of the interview, there's actually something else that I wanted to bring up. And to me, it's been something that I've been thinking a lot about and kind of what this album is and what this word and concept Eusexua is. So at the very beginning of the interview, he asks her to describe what Eusexua means, this word that she's invented. He asks her first, which I thought was really interesting, is it like a combination of euphoria and like sexuality, which I think looking at the word, that's kind of what comes to mind. And I thought it was so interesting. She was like, no, like I just liked how it sounded. Like it sounded like this feeling felt. And so she said that she was not really good at giving like a definition of the word, but it was easier for her to give examples. And she gave a few different examples in the interview, and I think she's done that like in this press tour when she's spoken about this record. But the one from the Jake Shane interview that really stood out to me and like made me just, I don't know, kind of get really kind of understand what this is she's going for is when she said that it's the moment before an orgasm, which I just thought was I thought it was fascinating because she described it as like you're not thinking about anything else. Like you're thinking about nothing. You're like completely surrendered to the moment, and you're not in the moment itself. You're entering the moment. And like obviously this metaphor could goes beyond just like an quote unquote orgasm and could go into anything, but I love this like idea of it's about like complete surrender to the truth of whatever you're doing. And so whether that be hanging out with friends or going dancing or working or doing what, like, I think you can really, I understand her talking about it as like a philosophical approach to life because you really can do that with anything. That's just like complete openness to the truth of the moment and not letting ego or worries or anxieties or fears or anything get in the way of experiencing the world that's in front of you. And like this like glorious nothingness of just the complete surrender of self. I that to me,
Right.
I've been thinking so much about that ever since I heard her say that. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, one of my favorite pieces about it too, that she was talking about in the Jake Shane interview as well, is the piece of her definition of eusexua that has to do a lot with presence and being present. And because she talks a lot about kind of, like obviously like phones being
Yeah.
a huge distraction, but it's also a complete necessity for existing in the world in 2025. Like we all have phones. Um, and she had just kind of talked about it, whereas like keeping yourself present in the moment without needing some sort of like crutch to always be like looking at or being on or and kind of like honestly, like I said before when we were talking about the hot tracks and I was like disconnect to connect and being kind of funny, but that is so true. And as of recently, the Queen Honey, my mom bought one of those boxes that you can put your phone in. So you just keep your phone in like a little box with a door, not like phone jail or anything insane, but just like a little box where you can put your phone and just like not have it on your person all the time. And she kind of spoke a little bit to that in the interview about this kind of presence aspect of the term, which I definitely resonate with what she's saying about like being present, disconnecting, keeping yourself in the moment and like really appreciating, the space that you're in, where you live, your friends, your family, all of it. So obviously I can get behind that without it being attached to Eusexua and having it be, this kind of fun word with an album and whatever. Like I just think what she said about being present in life in general was very interesting.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
So yeah.
Yes.
Well, Levi, would you like to go first and
Yeah,
talk about your thoughts?
I can go first. So, like Maria mentioned, FKA twigs is and I think we've talked about this a bit on the podcast, just with the whole kind of like lead up to this album is something we've been chatting a lot about. But I love FKA twigs. She's an artist that I've been really invested in for a long time. I've been aware of her ever since her debut. Her debut album LP1 was released in 2014. It was I didn't really get into it then. I think it was just to be honest with you, like advanced for me as like a 14-year-old to really like understand. I wasn't that developed of a 14-year-old to get that. But it's has one of the most striking album covers I've ever seen, that LP1 album cover. And so it's like the second I saw it, I knew who FK Twigs was, and I like knew her presence as an artist. But I became super invested in her when Magdalene came out in 2019. So actually the same day, this is so embarrassing for Taylor, the same day that Me was released to the world, Cellophane by FK
Oh,
Twigs was also released. Like as if it wasn't already bad enough that you released the worst song of all time.
the best
The
song of
best
all
song of
time.
all time was released at the same day because Cellophane, that was the song I was like, oh my God, like that, it genuinely is. My friend Eric talks about, he doesn't like it when people throw around the term sublime because like sublime is kind of like this like elevated state of excellence where like you get to like something almost heavenly.
Mhm.
And like that's not something that can be thrown around lightly, in his opinion. And that kind of because I think I used to like be like, oh my God, it was sublime, but try to like sound cool. But ever since he said that, I was like, wait, you're so right about that. And
Yeah,
like you really should kind of be more careful about like what you bestow that honor on. To me,
interesting.
Cellophane is a sublime song.
Right.
The first time I heard it, I was watching the video as well, which is one of the most gorgeous like music videos I've ever seen. And it that song just takes me to somewhere beyond the world that we're in. And it's because of her songwriting and her voice and the production and just the how everything is so intentional. That's something I love about her as an artist. Nothing is there by accident. Everything is there by design. Everything has a purpose. And so that song made me like immediately get super invested in to that whole album rollout. Magdalene is one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it is like one of the records I've listened to in my life that, there's so many records that I love, 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 love so much. But to me, it's like one of the ones that's like, this is truly like was like carved out of like marble and is like this like perfect like beautiful thing where every single thing is exactly in its right place. It is a really important record to me. I have a huge emotional connection to it. It talks about a lot of like themes and ideas that are very relevant and like the art that I am passionate about, and I just find her super inspiring. So yeah, that album just kind of like sealed the deal for me. It's like I will always be like following you forever. Kepler Songs is really fun. Like I definitely didn't have the same impact on me that Magdalene did, but I really appreciated it and I thought it was cool, especially since Magdalene was such a heavy album and was so serious. I loved seeing her have fun again because she is such a fun like person and like I know like the heaviness of Magdalene was not something that I think she was super comfortable living in all the time. In that Song Exploder episode that I was mentioning, she talks about how she was really trying to resist making a heartbreak record because she didn't want to be sad all the time. But in kind of the pursuit of the truth, she like understood that that was what she was making anyways because that's what she was feeling. And so it was cool to see her in a lighter place. And that brings us to EUSEXUA. I've been super excited about this album coming out. And I think it's fucking brilliant. Like, there's no way to beat around the bush about it. It's an incredible album, and it's cool to be talking about it. Well, it's both cool and also like almost limiting to be talking about it right after it came out because it it feels like such a world and it's so dense that like I feel like I'm constantly discovering things about it every time I've listened to it. I've listened to it probably like 5 or 6 times now. And to me, I can already tell that it's the kind of album that I will be discovering things about it for like months and months and months and months and months. And so
Yeah.
it's like right now in the stage that I'm in where like it literally was just born into the world. I feel like I'm just in this entirely new environment, this new universe, and just surrounded by all these swirling sounds and ideas. But it's an incredible album. So, first of all, Maria kind of touched on this a bit, but this album is so 90s Madonna, which is my like fave essence of Madonna. Obviously, there's a huge ray of light feel, particularly in the song Girl Feels Good. It has such a William Orbit influence, who's the primary collaborator on Ray of Light, with the kind of like drum and bass sound at the end and like the electric guitars coming in. I mean, it literally sounds like it was plucked directly from Ray of Light. But there's also so much of this album that reminded me of erotica, the kind of like cool edge to erotica. And I was reading this review of the album from Consequence of Sound earlier today, and it made this connection to both of those albums. And it said that also in Eusexua, she's doing the same thing that was Madonna was doing, which was exploring sexuality and her body as a way of achieving some kind of higher sense of spirituality, which I thought was super interesting because it's not just that like I mean, I think sex is present on this record quite a bit, but it's not like just sex for sex sake. It's like using her body to experience like a higher level of existence, which I think is similar to what Madonna's doing on like an album like Erotica or Ray of Light, which I found really fascinating. There's some other kind of influences and touch points that I find super intriguing. So Room of Fools to me is very Bjork inspired.
Oh yeah.
It's such, I could
Yep.
so hear her over that beat, can't you?
Yes. And I think like with the way that she performs some of the vocals at the end of the track is like Bjork.
Yes.
It's so present.
I'll be
It's
interested.
insane.
Okay, so I'll be interested to see if you think of the next thing I'm going to say.
Right.
So I know Keep It, Hold It. When I was listening to it for the first time, Drew and Marie had already listened to it. Drew gave me the reference point of Confessions on a Dance Floor,
Yeah.
Madonna. And I hear that a lot in the end. But for me, actually, the primary influence that I hear, to me, it sounds so Kate Bush.
Yes.
It's so Kate Bush, right?
Oh, I don't know Kate Bush, so that's
It's
why.
so Kate
It's
Bush.
so Kate Bush.
It's so
The
Kate Bush.
vocal, the delivery, the production, like even just like
Fuck.
the
I
composition, the
hate that
chords.
I hate that it was such an obvious reference and I didn't know it.
No, no, don't you don't.
No, I mean, I don't think it's like, oh, okay, there's this very, like, it's a very
The
clear
most
Christmas
obvious one
moment.
is "Girl Feels Good." That is the
Yeah.
That's so
most.
obvious.
That's
Yeah.
so obvious.
Yeah.
But because I haven't seen as many people talk about, I've seen people talk about "Girl Feels Good" a lot online. I've seen a few like "Room of Fools" Bjork mentioned, but I
Yeah.
came to the "Keep It Hold It" thing myself. I was like,
Okay, okay.
because I went in thinking Confessions on a Dance Floor, and I was like, I heard where you get that, because to me, especially the end of that song, feels like it could be tacked on to the end part of the record where like it starts to get darker.
Yes, I was how high?
Yes, yes, I hear that completely, but like especially like the first half of that song, and honestly just the whole thing,
Yeah.
it's so Kate Bush.
Yeah, it's like really like there's some Hounds of Love influence, I think, but it also feels like The Kick Inside.
Well, to
A lot
me,
too.
it felt like the Red Shoes, which I know is not like a very
I'm not as familiar with the Red Shoes.
specifically Rubber Band Girl. That song,
Wow.
there's just something about the delivery that really reminded me of it. So
Oh my God, we have to do Hounds of Love.
we have to hit some.
We have to
Yeah,
hit
we
some.
do. Well, we also have to do Bjork.
Well, yes. I mean, we have to do Debut. We have to do. I've listened to the Bjork albums through Vespertine. I haven't listened to any
Oh, you've not listened to
after
anything
that.
recent? Any?
Well, I
Interesting.
know certain songs, but like not like full albums.
Full albums, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I want to hold that I want to say as well. And this is more of a recent influence. And I haven't seen it. And so this might just be like me, but there's something about Childlike Things, which first of all, I feel like has been a very divisive song.
Oh, why?
I
It's so
love
good.
Childlike Things. And I
Yes.
actually find it very emotional that Northwest is on the song.
Yeah.
And I actually, okay, first I'm going to say that. So these two songs that I'm about to talk about are very different sonically, but to me, they're about the same thing. I actually think Childlike Things is about a lot of the same thing that Seven by Taylor Swift is. Because it's
Yes.
do you understand that?
Yes.
Because it's about this like this
I felt
state
that.
of being a child where you haven't sanded the edges off of yourself yet to like fit in as like an adult in this like world that we live in. There is this untamed wildness to you that I mean it's like what Taylor talks about. I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted. And I feel the same way with this song. It's like she wants to be where the wild things are, which obviously is a reference to the incredible children's book Where the Wild Things
Yeah.
Are. But also this idea of just like I want to be like a child in the sense that I am just so fully myself and I'm not burdened by the rest of the world. And I'm not burdened by all the experiences that I've had that have maybe like matured me or soured me or saddened me, whatever.
Yeah.
And I find it actually very moving that you hear an actual child on the song.
Yeah.
And I think it helps that she's in speaking in Japanese, so like I don't know what she's saying. So because I think maybe like if I thought what she was saying was stupid, then I think I would maybe be like, okay, like maybe this isn't working.
Maria, don't tell him.
I think I saw. Did she talk about like Jesus is king? Didn't she say something like that?
Maria had a screenshot at Scarlett last night for when
Oh, no,
the
I
song
pulled up
came
Genius
up,
lyrics.
and she pulled it up during the song.
I pulled up Genius lyrics while we were there because I was like, I know what she's saying.
I don't know. I just find it like really like beautiful that like Twigs is
Yeah.
talking about wanting to be in this state, and then there is this child who like is maybe like still in that phase of life who like hasn't been
Yeah.
like kind of
Well, and
hardened by the
it's
world yet.
Right.
it's also like weird because we know so much about what Northwest has to learn about,
Yes,
like
because
her,
her family,
her
yeah.
parents, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, so beyond the subject of that song just being very moving to me, that song feels like it could have been plucked from Art Angels by Grimes.
Yes, that's so true.
The bounciness of the production, the way that like it's mastered, where the vocals almost are like blurred into the productions, and there's not as like much of a separation between the two. It feels very Grimes to me, like the bum 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 ba-dum. That sounds so Grimes to me.
Yeah, it has the playfulness of Art Angels, but I think it's like it's not as jagged as something on Art Angels would feel like, in my opinion.
That's fair.
But like 100%.
It just in terms of like this, like the bounciness of it, like it really kind of, and also, I mean, maybe since it's kind of like Childlike Things, like it has this like playful edge. It kind of reminded me a bit of like Kill the Mame, which is like the cheerleader song.
Yes.
That's also an album that I would love to do at some point.
We 100%
That's
need to.
that's a pop Bible for me as well.
We need to do like a weird girl week.
I mean, I want to be a weird girl every day.
Every day.
Every day. Yeah, EUSEXUA. So yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I just love the record, and for me,
It's so
I
good.
talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think what I'm finding so moving about the album is I feel like every song in some way is about the sense of surrender and surrendering to, if you're on a dance floor with a room of strangers, surrendering to the experience of like tapping into this primal sense to move your body to the rhythm of whatever you're listening to, and like I feel like I've experienced states of eusexua on a dance floor. I mean, being on a dance floor is one of my favorite things because I think that it is the great equalizer in my mind. The dance floor, like nobody's above anybody else. We are all just like bodies experiencing the music together. And like when you are just like I think people can get bogged down by it if they like bring an ego to it or if they
Mhm.
bring in like a sense of self-consciousness. And I've definitely done that before. I've had like bad nights at like a club or on a dance floor when like I felt like, oh my God, like I look so stupid or like I haven't like felt good about myself, whatever. And eh, I've had so many moments though where I've just completely surrendered to it and like you just like feel like bodies bumping into each other and you just like experience like the lights and the sounds and like that is a beautiful sense of surrender. But like a song like 24-Hour Dog, which I find so fascinating, which is about like submission in a lot of different ways and like her being like I am your dog, like I am a pet, I am surrendering myself to you in this way. um
Chicken Girl.
Chicken, oh my God, yeah, the highlight of the Jake Shane interview is her talking about her dog being named Chicken Girl. I haven't been able to think about anything else, actually, like I actually haven't.
It's
Yeah.
Eusexua, the state of mind, and then Chicken Girl.
Her name is Chicken Girl. Where do you come up with that? How do you come up with Chicken Girl?
That's everything.
It's everything. So yeah, I mean, I love the record. I love this I love the sonic influences that she's pulling together. I also love that it's not just a straight dance album, but like it's her take on like dance music and like the
Yes.
response to the way that like techno music makes her feel
Mhm.
because I love a Twigs ballad. And so I was kind of like I don't think nervous, but just wondering if like I was gonna get a Twigs ballad because she I think can do a ballad like almost nobody else can, especially like her voice. Her voice is so beautiful, this like a crystalline soprano, and I think it can just really soar in a slower tempo. And I was so delighted that we get some beautiful ballads here, and it's not just like thud 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 dance music, but it's this like all the feelings that you feel when you're experiencing the kind of influences that she was experiencing. So I feel like I could go on and maybe like ramble a bit more. I think that maybe the cohesiveness of my thoughts would begin to devolve a bit. So I think I'm going to stop there, but I love the record. I'm so happy that I have this record. It is music that makes me think a lot, makes me feel a lot, makes me move a lot. I feel like it is really working for me at every single level. And I think right now where I'm at is I'm just excited to continue to develop a relationship with it. Because obviously, like I've been, probably maybe not, I shouldn't be, but like I've been comparing a lot to Magdalene just because, that's the previous album. And I've had years to develop a very emotional relationship with Magdalene, and I'm excited to be able to do the same thing with Eusexua. But it's really incredible, and she should just, feel really proud of it because it's a really beautiful body of work. So that's
So
where I'm at.
slay. Thank you, Levi. Well, Drew Nation.
Yes. Yeah, I am like obsessed with this. It's like insane how good it is. Um, my kind of relationship with her, Levi in like I probably like 2019 when he listened to Magdalene was like, you gotta listen to this, you gotta listen to this. And he started, the listening experience by sending me Cellophane, and I was like not in the headspace to like digest a song that devastating.
Yeah, it's
Um,
devastating. That song is like there needs to be trigger warning.
Yeah, and
and so I was like, I listened to it and I was like, this is good, but this is not something I can like be really diving into right now. Like, it's just not something I was mentally prepared for. So I kind of put that off. Um, but I with Eusexua coming out, this single, I kind of got back on board. I loved the single Eusexua. And then I loved Perfect Stranger as well. Did not love not Girl Feels Good, Drums of Death at first because I love her voice. Obviously, she has like one of the best voices ever. Um, but I wanted her to sing. But now Levi has put it great. In the group chat, we were talking about how much I love Drums of Death now, and I do really love it now. And Levi was like, Drew has just, come to surrender to the idea of EUSEXUA, and this is the evidence of that,
That's amazing.
which is so accurate.
Well, because we were saying what songs we were from the pre-release singles, and I
Yeah.
said Drew initially said that he was eusexual. I was like, no, you're Drums of Death, and like the reason why you didn't like it is because you were resisting your true essence. And then I said you
Yes.
were Maria was eusexual, and I think I said something. What did I say?
To read
I
that.
said, okay, this. Oh my. Well, I'm not reading the last sentence. I'll read the ones about you though.
Yeah,
But I said,
yeah.
like Maria is eusexual because she is the ephemeral essence of the practice of eusexia. Your Drums of Death, because of how vibrant it is, like the intensity of the drums, reminds me of your essence. You're the ephemeral essence of the practice of eusexual.
The practice
Yeah.
of the sense essence of
And
She
then,
said the word ephemeral though in the Jake Shane interview.
yes, she
Podcast.
did.
Oh my God, yes.
No, but so yeah,
Eusexual.
so I got really excited. And then last week we got tickets to the show, so I built more
Yes, we haven't even said that
excitement.
yet. Yay!
Yeah,
So
so
the
we got
sexual word.
tickets to the tour. We will be there. But it was like one of those where I wanted it so bad, like I wanted the album so bad, more than just the three tracks, that I then went back and listened to Magdalene in full and got really into it. Um, yeah, so I just like really fall in love with her. I have not listened to Capra songs yet, so I definitely have to do that.
I actually think you'll like it. It's also like,
Yeah.
to me, it's a bit more accessible than like the other two albums.
Totally. That's what I'm sensing from it. But I don't know. You know how much I love the weird stuff, so I don't know. Yeah. But
It has so much character.
It has so much character.
So
It just like I just think like Magdalene and Eusexia are a bit denser. Because like
yeah,
remember like when you were listening to Magdalene, you were like, Levi, can you explain to me the lore of this? Like you don't need any of
yes.
that with Capra songs. Like
Correct.
you can just kind of like take it with what
Yeah,
she's offering initially without
Yeah.
having to kind of think, I think, beyond it.
yeah. But I love going into lore though, listening to things. Like I personally that's something that I've learned about myself, like in the past, like honestly, like 6 months. I love like going into lore in to like listening to something. Like I love how much like lore can enhance an experience of
Yeah.
listening to something and like even like movies, like watching movies. So yeah, I am obsessed with Eusexua. Um yeah, experiencing it at Scarlet was amazing. Um yeah, something that Levi did such a good job of like explaining kind of everything and like the background and something that I wanted to add was like I was a little nervous going into it because of how strong the first three singles were. It was kind of like, is everything else going to kind of like match it, but also like enhance the kind of thing? Because the three songs that she put out definitely feel like three different kind of themes. And I was like, oh, is everything just going to be kind of like these three songs? But everything else on the album, I feel like completely enhances the three songs.
Hmm.
And I feel like putting out the three songs beforehand actually like did a did a better like having listened to the three songs and really fallen in love with all three of them enhanced the viewing of the rest of the album for me.
I agree with you.
And especially how they come at the beginning, like with Girl Feels Good. I felt like it coming back because I listened to it all in order when I listened to it the first time again. I didn't skip through the singles. And it like I'm so glad that I had the three before because I think maybe hearing it in order with those three without having heard it beforehand may have kind of thrown me a bit off. Um, with how different all of the songs are. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. And also an artist that you haven't mentioned that I really want to add that I don't know if they're friends or whatever, but she did say something in the Jake Shin interview about a deluxe version of the album.
Mhm.
Can we fucking get Caroline Polachek on the deluxe?
Oh, that would be.
That would take ethereal musicianship to a different
Can you
level.
imagine like both of their like, ooh, together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I would live. We'd be
I
good.
don't, I mean, I don't know if I'm sure they're aware of each other. I don't know if they're friends or,
EUSEXUA, I want to turn into you.
yeah.
Someone
Like literally, could you imagine the
No, it'd be
like,
great. It'd be great. I'd be gagging.
even like a remix of like striptease with Caroline
I
Polachek?
could hear her on a lot of these songs, to be honest with you.
Girl Feels Good, I could hear her on too.
oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I want to say. I didn't want to like ramble on. I'm just obsessed with it. Yeah.
Well, so slay. Well, I'll go into some of my thoughts, and obviously, thank you both. Love hearing all of your guys' perspectives. But I mean, yeah, I mean, as we know from listening to Pop Girlies podcast on a weekly basis, just like everyone on the planet does,
Yeah.
that I was so on board with every single single. Like they're all just so good. So I was just like, if I like the three singles this much, I just can't wait to experience the rest of it. So yeah, was so fun listening to it. The concept of it's very cool. And I know we just kind of like finished talking about like album lore and all of that for a bit. I personally think, I mean, obviously the concept of EUSEXUA is neat. Like, even if it was just contained to an album, even if it wasn't Twigs being like, this is a philosophy that, you could carry into your life and whatever. Like, obviously that's all cool. I think I like the concept of an album that does have lore, but it's not like super saturated and it's not like a convoluted storyline that like in order for me to understand this just to enjoy it I inherently have to do outside homework. I feel like there are concept albums like that and then it gets a little bit inaccessible. I have like two random touch points which is just funny because they're both like quote emo artists, but My Chemical Romance has a concept album that is called Danger Days that like directly ties to like Gerard Way's like comic books and just it's so saturated in lore and there's like characters that get mentioned and you literally need to do outside homework in order just to understand it to like decide whether or not you even like the music. Like it's just a little bit hard. There's a 21 Pilots album like that too. So it's like obviously two like super random touch points for like artists and bands. But for me, I just get a little bit like, okay, I think I'm a little bit over this. Like if it's necessary for me to do homework, I'm gonna have a hard time. But I think this being still a conceptual album, but not being completely saturated in necessary lore is kind of cool. Um,
Well,
I
I think that's how you know if something is like amazing. Like if it can stand alone without the lore, but then listening
right.
to reading into the lore and it completely enhancing the experience beyond, I think that's how you know it's good. If you can't experience it without the lore, I think that's kind of like,
Yes,
well, what are we doing?
exactly.
What are we doing, Lisa?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, if that's what you want to do, then
Yeah.
it's like your entire audience just kind of has to be on board with that whole thing.
Yeah. Like we're not playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know.
Right.
We're listening to music,
Yeah, this
you
isn't
know.
the game of life. This is yeah. So yeah, very good point. I personally, after experiencing it in a club last night, and while during my first listen too, I was a little bit surprised at how much of this actually isn't necessarily danceable, like intrinsically danceable. But then doing some additional research and seeing that she was like, it's not me directly making a techno album. Like it doesn't exactly fit in that genre, but it's me being inspired by those things makes that make a lot more sense. But still, I feel like I had a little bit more of an expectation that the entire thing would be very, very dance heavy. um, so that's just something that I was like expecting,
Were
but
you
wasn't super
disappointed
there.
by it
I
not being
wasn't
like
super
that?
disappointed because I still did obviously really enjoy all of the tracks as they were, but each one would kind of come across like right in the middle, like kind of all the tracks that are right above Childlike Things, and I was like, oh, each one's kind of starting off slow. But something I actually did want to mention too is that I never listened to FKA Twigs before all of this EUSEXUA stuff. And I obviously understand that she's a very ballad heavy musician. Like that's just like a very consistent style of songwriting throughout her discography. And I am notably
Ballad
not the
phobic.
biggest ballad fan. So I feel like for that is just I haven't been like super drawn to ever listen to her before this. But obviously getting into her, listening to some of her older stuff, it's just so cool to be experiencing an artist's work for the first time where kind of like we were talking before are just so multifaceted. There's so many layers to their artistry because she is also an incredible dancer,
Yeah.
obviously a great singer, and just such an incredible visual artist. So it's just very cool to be able to dive in and just see all of these different incredible layers to an artist and everything that they've done, and that they have such a widespread career in all things artistry. So very cool. But yeah, to that point though, it's like I wasn't disappointed by the songs where I'm like, oh, this isn't like made for dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of like an expectation I had for it
On
specifically.
that note, like about her being a dancer, something that I've kind of imagined, like, could you imagine her as Sally Bowles in that cabaret revival? Wouldn't that be insane?
It'd be interesting.
No?
Yeah. That's not the obvious. I don't really see her in like musical theater, but I would be
I
interested by it.
think she'd be so good.
Yeah, she probably would be great. I mean, she's a good actress.
Yeah, she replaces Miley Cyrus.
Make it happen, Broadway.
Broadway, I know you're listening.
Twigs.
Twigs, Broadway's calling. But
Okay, did it gag everyone like I thought it was by saying no.
But you
uh,
gagged yourself, and that was what matters.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay.
yeah. But just a couple other points though. I mean, obviously, love it, so fun. I personally wish in the album cover that she had the skullet situation because it's just such an iconic part of like the era. Like from a visual perspective of her having like the shaved head, but then the hair in the back. I would have loved to have seen that as part of the album cover. But I also do think it's interesting that all of the visual components for the album itself are like her with the bald head and then
Mhm.
like just having like shoes on. Like that's like literally it. So I think on a conceptual level, like all of that's cool. But I'm like the skullet thing is just so cool. Like she looks so insanely cool.
She's like the only person on the planet that could pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just like, oh man, I wonder that would have been really neat. Um, but yeah. Gosh, I feel like there was like one other thing that I was going to say, but oh yes, the other thing that I was going to say is that so for childlike things, because I know we were talking about it, definitely 100% resonate with your comparison to Seven. Um, and that song for me actually has a really strong resemblance of a lot of the music by the Avalanches that I might have talked about on here before. But they're essentially a group where what they do is within the genre of quote plunderphonics, where it's really all of the work is sampling. Like
Okay.
like entire songs more or less constructed from sampling alone. I mean, obviously there's original compositions to string everything together, but a lot of the work is like scrapbooking.
Sampling.
So super duper cool. Their third studio album, which is called We Will Always Love You, is still the same thing. Like there's still hundreds of samples on it, but it has more original composition, keeping it all together than their previous works. And it gives that vibe so much because it has a lot of that kind of really clean, like piano, kind of like clubby piano sounds. And like the way that her vocals are kind of layered on top of on top of itself really gives the vibe of that album, which also has like this really strong like outer space kind of motif throughout it. That album actually does a lot of sampling of the Voyager Golden Record, which is what they put on the Voyager space shuttle that they flew out into space in the 70s, which is one of my favorite historical artifacts of all time that I actually got to see one of the sister duplicates that they made at the Library of Congress when I went to DC last year. And I like it
She
was
was looking for evidence.
I was looking but it was insane when I saw that because I had no idea it was going to be there, and we were obviously in this corridor where it's quiet and you're just looking at artifacts and boxes. Like they had the contents of Lincoln's pockets when he was assassinated. Like that those kind of historical artifacts.
Wow.
And then I turn a corner and then the Voyager Golden Record is there and I was like, can I scream right now? Like can I scream in this quiet room? This is so cool. All of that to say though, that song specifically was like really giving this like cool kind of clubby spacey vibe from that album, which I love, and that's just some of my favorite music, period, is what the Avalanches make. So just wanted to draw that
Period.
so slay, but that's what I wanted to say. But obviously love EUSEXUA, pinnacle of human experience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, are we going into
Yeah.
steer us into the new land?
Yes. So we'll get into our least favorite and favorite tracks. So how about we'll all go around and do our me's, our least favorites. So Levi,
Okay.
you want to go first?
Yeah, so this one was kind of easy for me, and I don't think there's a bad song in the album. I don't think there's a bad song in the album. For me, it's just this isn't the one that it hasn't fully sunken in for me yet. And I think I could totally see like this climbing up if I have more time with it. But right now, when I've been listening to the record, when I'm in it, I'm wanting to go to the next songs. And it hasn't like fully sunk its claws in me. I feel like I haven't fully penetrated it in terms of like understanding the song the way that I
Yeah.
feel like I'm understanding other songs. And so that is actually Keep It, Hold It for me.
Oh.
And I love Kate Bush, but there's just something, I don't know, because it's in between like two of my favorite songs that I love. And so like when like Sticky ends, I'm like, oh, Sticky's so good. And then Keep It, Hold It happens. I'm like, this is really good. And then Childlike Things, I'm like, oh, I love Childlike Things. So it's like, I think
Yeah.
maybe the placement is also not helping it for me. But yeah, that one I think is kind of a solid me for Levi's knife in this moment right now.
All right. All right. Drew.
Um, exact same for me as well.
Oh,
It's keep it,
really?
hold it. Yeah, and it's the exact same thing that you're saying. I know there's a lot to digest, and I know I'm gonna have a moment with it.
That's
Like it's
exactly
one
how
of
I
those,
feel.
I know exactly like it's gonna hit me at a point, but it's though I'm looking to hear the other songs more at the moment. I
Yeah.
probably have listened to that one like 2 or 3 times, but I probably listened to the other ones like more. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm going to break the trend, actually, because my me is going to be Wanderlust.
Girl, that is cuckoo.
You're crazy.
Oh no. Oh,
Girl.
well, I feel like this happens a lot where like I have such a disappointing me. At least it happened like last week.
It happens a lot. It's happened 2 times.
Okay, well, I sorry. I mean,
It's just not your, I know.
It's just not your thing.
for me, it's not the moment that I wanted the album to end on. I
Oh,
wanted
see, I think it's perfect.
I'll expand in a little bit. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Well, you never know. I mean, it
Yeah.
did literally come out yesterday, but
Yeah.
I
So
don't
what
know.
did you want the album to end on? Like
Yeah. What did
what
you
were you
want it?
craving?
Well, I think if the album ended on title track EUSEXUA, it would have been crazy. I think that would have been a crazy way to end the album, and I think I actually would have preferred EUSEXUA to be the last track. But I don't know what I would have made the first track. Like I
Drums of
love
Death.
the build in the song EUSEXUA, and I think but I don't know then because it's like that kind of has the motif that you need to carry through the whole album of like,
Yeah, to me it
you
makes so
know,
much sense as a open. I can't see it as a closing track.
I
Because to
think
me it's inviting the rest of the journey.
I definitely feel that. I feel like sonically I would have loved to like the for the last song to be a really slow build and for the payoff to be so abundant. Because I think the end of that song is just so like euphoric of
Of
But
you,
also, I think having if it would have, because I think You Sexually needed to be a single. And I don't think it would have had that same payoff if it were the closer and we'd already heard it before,
yeah.
yeah, I would
personally.
agree with that. I normally don't like it when closing tracks are singles. I love being surprised by what the closing track
And
is.
then I don't think Wanderlust would have had a place on the album if it weren't the closer. Because I don't know where I would put it.
Well,
Yeah.
Maria
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
care if
don't
it
know.
didn't have a place on the album. Maria would be fine. Maria would be like, ding dong, the witch is dead.
I don't
I
know.
definitely see a world where Drums of Death is the opener, but I maybe it's more so the fact that it's like the tour opener.
You've also just decided this. Drew's been like,
Just
Drew,
decided that it's the
Drew,
tour
yeah,
opener.
him saying, oh, because it's the tour opener, as if that's confirmed, not just what he says.
If it's not, it's Sorry Mom Part 2. There, you have this song and you're doing a tour of it and you're not opening with Drums of Death.
Drew has also decided that Twigs is going to open for the LG7 tour.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
you've
that's
decided this as
happening.
So
well.
someone tell Gaga and someone tell Twigs about that. So on the
It's
main
happening.
call.
Mayhem.
So yeah, sorry to be disappointing for yet another week, but you guys know that that's not my vibe. You said it. You know that's not what I
Yeah.
for. So okay, no
Okay.
shade. So so now we'll go 3-1 of our top three tracks.
Okay.
I can go first.
Holy
Great.
Trinity
Yeah,
time.
so Holy Trinity time. Well, I had an interesting, so this was super hard for me.
Yeah.
The Holy Trinity was incredibly difficult. I feel like I knew what my number one was, and I was having a really hard time with figuring out what two and three are. I think part of that is like I love the singles so much, but like, am I placing more like emphasis on them just because I've had them longer? And so like I understand them more and like I had time with them individually, whereas I'm getting all these new songs at the same time to try to like understand uh you know together. And then I was also like, okay, like this is an album that's so much about being on the dance floor. Like, am I really gonna be like a ballad whore and like just like draw out of the albums? But then I had this moment. I went to the gym and I was listening to it because I really didn't know up until like probably like 10 a.m. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like, you know what? I just need to go with my gut on this. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna get like tried in court if this like isn't ultimately like what it ends up being maybe in like a few weeks. But right now in this moment, in the wake of EUSEXUA, my number three is Sticky. I love Sticky. And the thing, Sticky and Striptease were in a very close race for number three. Striptease just missed. I love talking about build of a song. The build of Striptease is
Oh,
Yes,
it's
anytime you
crazy.
so
do
good.
drum and bass at the end.
Yes,
It's so
it's
cool.
what there's two things that push Sticky over that. First of all, I just love what this song is about. And like I think it's like I love where it comes in the album because it's like the album is so like kind of I feel like almost like balls to the wall in the first like five tracks. It's like boom, 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 and then Sticky is kind of like the first moment of like
Like a release.
a release, yeah,
Yeah.
and like everything not being perfect or like everything not just being like a state of euphoria.
Mhm.
It has I think my favorite lyric on the record, which is "You're right, I hold it in my body, little snakes inside a bottle, writhing in my frustration." Holy Jesus, fuck! And then listening to that song for the first time.
Mhm. I
The
love the
gag of the century of how it ends.
right.
I
Yeah.
I was just I mean I was actually at the gym yesterday morning when I listened to it for the first time and I made a noise and someone looked at me and I was embarrassed. But then I also wasn't because it was like if you knew what I just heard, you wouldn't be judging me. Because
But then you were like, you know, state of eusexual. I don't care what other
I
people
don't
say.
care what I'm surrendering to the moment. Because literally I was like, oh, listen, this it you would never guess how the song ends. And the next few times I listened to the album, I forgot that I forgot like where it came in. And so like every single time it's come in, I'm like, oh, which I love.
Right.
I love that about
I
it.
love the production in Sticky too, where right before it gets all crazy, when it sounds like her voice is like a metal ball that's dropping.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it. Yeah.
That's how I envision it in my head because the way that they produce her vocals make them sound so sharp and
Yeah.
metallic. So that's what I'm envisioning because it's like you can literally hear her. It's like someone dropped her vocal track and then it just goes boing 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 boing,
Yeah,
and
that's a
it's
great way to
so
describe
cool.
it. And then it
So
just the song just
yeah,
explodes. So that's my number three. My number two is Drums of Death.
yes,
I could not. It's so undeniable that the way those drums come in is just like it makes me feel that sense of catharsis that I feel like so much of this album is about. I feel that every single time I listen to it. I love first of all the melody of the chorus. I love how her voice sounds in the chorus. And then like the hello, it's your life. Do you want to meet later? Like to me the song almost feels like a dare. It literally feels like I'm your life. Like are you gonna come and live me now? Like come on, like are you gonna do this? Are you gonna meet me in this moment? And it's almost sinister sounding, but it also like motivates me. Like it's a really good like song to work out to. because I wasn't able to go with Drew and Maria last night to the EUSEXUA night, and I want to experience Drums of Death on a dance floor so badly I can't even tell you. So that's my number two, and then my number one is Wanderlust for the second week in a row.
Ugh.
And I actually though, for me, it's so integral to the story of EUSEXUA, and it actually because I already knew what I was going to say, and I'll say it in a sec. But what you were explaining earlier in the music video of her coming back to the office world, but she's like been changed and she's been affected and she's had a moment of clarity. To me, that's what Wanderlust is. So
Uh-huh.
the way that I was understanding Wanderlust is it's like you go out, you go out on a Saturday night and you have a long, crazy night, and like when you're inside of a night like that, like it feels like it's gonna be forever, and like it feels like it's like you're like living inside of a movie. And I feel like so often when you wake up the next morning, maybe your body's sore, you didn't sleep great, you're disoriented. To me, Wanderlust captures this like moment of clarity that you have when you're coming down from an experience like that, when you're coming down from like an intense state of like catharsis and passion and pressure and release. It's this like moment when you're like back in the world. And like for me, it's like, okay, like I had a crazy night last night and I'm gonna like take a walk to like go get some coffee or like walk to go to the gym. And like you feel almost like you've been changed from the experience that you had before, even if it was this like passing moment that like, in a few weeks, you're not going to be able to remember exactly, oh, when you went to this bar, this thing happened. But to me it feels like that it's a moment of come down. It's a moment of like seeing the world and feeling like you've been changed in a way. I think that her voice just soars on that chorus. I find it so gorgeous, and I love that it ends the album. Like, to me, I don't think anything else could end it, because it's reflected in the arc of the video. The whole video is experiencing it, this moment of eusexua, this moment of nothingness, and then you leave the moment, but you're changed by it. And that's what Wanderlust is to me. And I wasn't expecting it. I kind of was expecting, I think, an ending more similar to what you were expecting, and
Mhm.
it gagged the fuck out of me. So yeah, Wanderlust. And it was the second I listened, I was like, this is my favorite song. So,
Love.
well, no, you don't.
You and the FKA Twigs closers.
The FK Twigs closer. She knows how to close an album. She really knows how to close an album. So that's where I'm at.
Yes. Well, Drew, what's your Holy Trinity?
Yeah. So I kind of had another similar experience to Levi. I knew my number one, but it was hard to come up with my two and three, but mainly my three. And it was funny enough, it was between Sticky and Striptease. But I went Striptease
Got it.
because I think I prefer how her voice sounds in that one just a little better. But both perfect songs. So yeah, Striptease to number three. Drums of Death is also my number
Oh my
two.
God, we're so aligned.
Um,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah. I mean, kind of just for the things that I explained earlier about it, how we really just came to love that one. But my number one is not Wonderlust. My number one is Girl Feels Good.
Lame.
Yes.
Which is
Yeah.
interesting considering the score that you gave Ray of Light.
Well,
It, Drew has evolved in the Madonna.
it's not like every single song on Ray of Light, though.
Girl, you need to revisit the album. But anyways,
How
tell us
can,
more about
Only knows Shanti.
Shanti's the only thing that exists.
yeah. No, I really love, I was not expecting that at all. And I just loved how the transition from Eusexual to Girl Feels Good, and then I just loved it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God. So
Slay.
sad.
And it was similar to Levi. I knew it was gonna be my favorite when I finished listening to it.
For the first time, you like knew
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, this is so my favorite.
That's cool. That wasn't what I was expecting your number one to be. That's awesome. It's not the song I would have suspected, but I love that you picked that. It's a great song.
Yeah.
So slay.
Okay, I'm excited to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah. So for my number three, I I at first had it as one of the three singles, but then I was like, it kind of similar to what you were speaking to of like am I just like ranking this higher because like I have more time with it? But I think I think I don't know. I was like, well, let me see, because my three was going to be Perfect Stranger because it's so great. When it came out, I think I listened to it like 10 times in a row, like straight up
In a row.
in a row. So I was like, oh, this is so good. And I've listened to it so much since. But I was like, I think there's other moments that are probably like there's more reasons that I'm like necessarily attached to it. So my number three is actually going to be Childlike Things, at least in the moment right now, because of what I said before of like it
Mhm.
having such a strong relation to this like other like artists that I really like and all this stuff. But again, like I do really enjoy that kind of motif that we also talked about a lot with Seven of again just kind of like return like or I guess just like re-exploring that state of like when you're a kid there's so much in the world that like you have not yet been hardened by or like corrupted by, and just kind of that like return, or at least like kind of like like a retrospective of,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, remember like how different like life was, how different the world was when you were like a child. So I really enjoyed that, like the exploration of that kind of message. I just think is really fascinating because it's so easy just to never reflect on that part of your life. I mean, obviously you remember like, oh, when I was a kid, we went to Disney World or whatever. But I think the actual concept of being a child and like being in the brain of a child, people don't really revisit of like, oh, that's what my childhood was like, but that's what my personality was like when I
Mhm.
was a child. So yeah, we've talked about that kind of motif a lot, especially with folklore, but I think that's just such an interesting concept. So that's gonna be my number three. I also just love how it sounds. Number two for me is going to be Girl Feels Good for all of the same Ray of Light reasons. And I heard this obviously track two after EUSEXUA, and I was not expecting this like right out of the gate. So so good. It's literally perfect.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
perfect
perfect
song.
song.
Yeah, it is.
I do think the production is so similar. I do think she sounds a lot different than Madonna
No
does
one's
on
saying
Ray of
that she
Light.
sounds like Madonna.
Okay, well that may be why I love the song, but then don't love Ray of Light like
Hey,
as
we don't need to be
much.
shitting on that. We don't keep.
Well, you asked.
I, I didn't. I was.
Yes, you did. You don't love Ray of Light. You gave it a bad score, but then you love Girl Feels Good. That's interesting.
And is that not that's not a question? That's a statement.
Oh,
So you're not gonna let me explain myself.
No, I'm not. You can explain yourself, but I didn't. It's not. I didn't ask. But I love that you explain. Explain away.
No, that was my explanation.
Slay.
play.
I just wanted to make sure that that everyone knew that I'm not a huge hater.
Come on, Teletubby, teleport us to Mars.
Teleport us to EUSEXUA.
Oh, come on, Teletubby. Teleport us to Mars.
My God. Okay, so obviously up to and then my number one, if you haven't assumed, it's Drums of Death.
I actually wasn't. I hadn't assumed.
We didn't assume
I
actually.
didn't assume. I actually wasn't expecting that. Were you, Drew?
I thought that was gonna be like a
No,
No.
oh
you put words in our mouth.
oh sorry. I should never assume. I'm sorry. I
Oh.
I should never assume your guys' opinions about my opinions in the future. So
Well, no, I just didn't think it was like.
no, I'm joking. I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious. Um
Hey, now you explain away.
Well, no. I was just being silly. I wasn't being serious. But yeah, I just thought because I mean, I like that song a lot and we talk about it a lot. So I just figured that you guys would have assumed it would have been my number
I
one.
actually, because I know that that was your end of year in your end of year. That was the FK Twigs pick. I actually was expecting the title track to be your number one, though.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm.
I wasn't
I don't know.
expecting that as much. I thought it would end up being something else.
like a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But once you hadn't said Drums of Death and you were toying with putting Perfect Stranger, and I was like, oh well, Drums of Death is gonna be in there somewhere. Because I knew you liked Drums of Death more than Perfect Stranger.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's my that's my anticlimactic number one. on the album is Drums of Death. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't really heard anything like it
No,
before it
there's
came
nothing.
out.
I can't think of a song like that song.
And I'm so glad.
Well, the intro.
Well, yeah, the intro,
Oh, yeah, we know what the intro sounds
which is
like.
Maria's favorite song from The Blessed Unrest,
Yes, with
Eden.
Sarah Bareilles.
And last night in Scarlet, when Drums of Death played, I went, "Let me paint a picture for you, then
And I
I'll
have
have
to
to
teach you to
teach you to
see.
see."
Oh
Doo-doo.
my God. So, well, something I wanted to say too about that is I'm so glad that our first taste of the song was with the visuals, like with the choreography in
Yeah.
the office and the music video, because it's like watching that choreography with the video is literally addicting. It's so good. The creative direction of all of it and the choreography is so cool. It's just I am obsessed with it. Like the whole package of Drums of Death, literally obsessed with it. So yeah, that's my number one.
Great number one. That's the only one that was in all three of ours.
Yeah. Slay. So I can't
Because
wait for
Levi
the
hates Ray of
story.
Light and doesn't want Girls Feels Good in his top 3.
What is it happening?
I'm joking.
Uh,
But it's crazy that the Ray of Light song is not in your top 3.
I love it. I just love other songs more. It's a great song. It's a really good album.
We're all getting really combative right now.
I
I'm getting
know.
scared.
And we all like love it. Like nobody, there's no
Love it. We're all fighting.
the one like
Well,
big
I could have
disagreement
guessed
about
what my number
Wanderlust
one-
being the me was like so calm. There was no, we're all just riled up thinking about Drums of Death. We're all like,
Correct.
Yeah.
serve violence.
Yes. Devour the entire world.
What did she say? She goes like devour dolls. Is that what she says?
Yeah, I think that's what I hear, but I don't hear correct, so.
I'm sure
Yeah. I know she ends with serve violence,
yeah.
which I love.
Which is everything.
Oh, crash the system diva doll.
Yeah. It's everything. Hello to life.
His face. Did you see his face?
No, it was working.
He was not computing that. It was funny.
Yeah.
I actually don't believe you at all.
Well, in the same way that he's decided that Drums of Death is the album tour opener, he's also decided that the lyrics are different.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
something I just wanted to say randomly. There has to be EUSEXUA merch. Like, when are we gonna get merch? I hope there's merch for the tour.
Girl, Maria will talk about buying merch with every person alive. How much merch do you actually own?
Just can I be excited about one thing, please? Like, you give me shade every single time I mention buying a piece of.
Because you always talk about it and you never buy anything.
Well, yes, that has been true. Like, I get that that's true. God, let me live, please.
Maria will get to the front of the merch line and be like, I don't want anything.
Well, this
But
is your opportunity to change.
this is your opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm excited for the merch. That's why I'm excited. That's why I brought it up.
Well, I'm excited for it too. I am.
Okay, let's
Maybe there will be a shirt that says like the 3 EUSEXUA sentences.
Yeah.
A
Like
state of mind is what's the other
It's
one?
a state of being.
State of being. I know the last one is pinnacle of human experience.
Well, here, what I have written down.
Isn't that the last one?
That's the last one, yes. Is this practice is a EUSEXUA is a practice, state of being, pinnacle of human experience.
There
Practice
has to be a
state of
shirt
being,
that says
pinnacle
that.
of human experience.
Maria, would you get that?
Maybe. I like the font that everything is in also so much. So
I like the font too.
very here for that.
Yeah.
I would love like a shirt with like that symbol that's been on the single
Yeah.
artwork, that like curvy symbol. I would love something.
She has an opportunity here to really make good merch.
Yeah. She has an opportunity to get Maria to buy a piece of merch. Think about it.
Well, that's a different opportunity.
It's a tougher mountain.
Maria, I believe in you. I believe you'll buy the merch.
Thanks.
Well, that's the thing too. I have once believed too.
Well, all right, girl. Well, I almost bought Ethel Kane merch for the last merch drop that she did, but then I decided not to because I know I would rather spend it on the eventual LG7 merch. Because I obviously
That she still won't buy.
Drew, can you please stop?
Well, okay, so this is what you said you're like, there was this Born This Way hoodie that she was obsessed with and wanted to buy. It had the cover on it. She, and then before that, there was a Chromatica crew neck that she wanted and was going to buy. Both stances she's gone. She said, well, I'm not going to buy it because I'm going to wait for the Art Pop 10-year anniversary merch to drop because I know I'm going to buy something. Art Pop 10-year anniversary drops. Maria, what do you have from that?
Like, should I be saying sorry to you for not buying the merch? Like, this is crazy.
Well, I just like I've been wronged so many times. That's why I have
It's
to
like
voice
your
it
problem.
here.
Oh my God. Do you know, actually, I thought that we were doing a really good job at being normal on the episode. And then in the last like 7 minutes, it's just evolved into insanity.
This episode was so level-headed.
It really was. I was like, we sound very intellectual. We sound
Asexual.
very philosophical. We sound very
Now
mature.
we're screaming about merch.
Girl, let me live. let
You're
me
gonna
live.
buy so much.
I'm letting you live, but I know that it's happening.
We need to stop this because we're just gonna go to circle.
Wait,
Yeah.
we haven't even done the ratings. We have.
Oh, we haven't even done the ratings. Oh my God, I was about to end the episode.
Okay. Drew
Oh my
Ford.
God,
Drew
my
Ford.
stomach hurts.
Let's do it lightning round. Mine is 9.6.
Oh, let me type it in. 9.6.
Okay, I'm gonna go 9.2.
I'm 9.4. I think it's gonna increase over time. I just think I need so much of it for me is about like emotional attachment, and I think I
Right.
just need like more of a relationship with it.
Yeah.
That's a very good.
Wait, is this gonna be the highest? No, wait, no, it can't be.
I think it might be.
Oh, no.
Why can't it be? It's a 9.4.
Well, I was just thinking about others that we've all given 10s to.
Is there one that we all give 10s to?
Well, no,
No.
but I'm just thinking of ones that like might have more than one 10.
9.4. Okay, so it was 9.4. What the hell? Drew?
Drew, are you there?
Oh, you're
Yeah, I'm
there.
there.
Oh my God. The Zoom went away and I was like, what did I do?
Okay, now technical difficulty. We have to wrap it up fast.
Yeah, I think this might be the highest rated ever.
Whoa.
Wow.
More than
Well,
Renaissance
let's
stuff?
see folklore. Folklore might be no, folklore's higher rated.
What
So
about Renaissance though?
okay, folklore I know is more than
Sorry.
folklore is 9.76 and Renaissance is 9.6. So this is number 3.
Wow.
So it's folklore, Renaissance, and
Wow.
then EUSEXUA.
Huge.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
3
good.
very good ones. Okay. So
Okay.
now to wrap up the normal episode of EUSEXUA.
Yeah.
Drew, what are we doing next week?
So next week we are doing one of my favorite albums ever. We're doing Super Ache by Conan Gray. So another man,
Ooh.
Let's hope something
But-
crazy doesn't happen. Now that we're doing it.
but you know what? We're
Because the
doing
last time. Oh, no, I know. I was like,
Oh
what-
yeah, Trump got elected last
Trump
time.
got elected last time, yeah.
Last time we
Well-
reviewed a band.
The last time, maybe that's a symbol from the universe. Pop Girlies is a nation built on Lysandry alone.
Right. Yep.
But we'll see.
We'll
It's an
see.
experiment.
It's an experiment.
yeah.
I mean, I'm dipping in the men's rights pond
Right.
the last few episodes.
Yes. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next week to get some super aches going on. But right now, I think it's our time. I think it's our time to go.
Correct.
I think I need to go, just be with my childlike things.
I'm gonna go exit and go into the room of fools.
I'm gonna go keep it and hold it.
Okay, you heard it here first, Pop Girlies. EUSEXUA today, EUSEXUA tomorrow, EUSEXUA forever.
John T.
Bye.